Oh my gosh, are all HELOCs canceled? In this video, I'm gonna go break down the latest headline about banks canceling HELOCs. Hey, what's going on everyone? This is Sam Kwak here, one of the Kwak brothers, and welcome to my patio. I just got back from the office and I'm home and I'm looking through the headlines and boom, I see this. Wells Fargo and JP Morgan are no longer taking in home equity line of credit applications. And naturally, of course, I knew I had to make a video about this, but I'm not in my studio, I'm in my home, so I'm just gonna use my camera and my phone to get you guys the latest update because this is a breaking news. Now, before we get into the video, be sure to subscribe to our channel if you want more updates about the economy, stimulus programs, investing in real estate, as well as paying off your mortgage. So what is going on right now with Wells Fargo and JP Morgan? Well, they just announced that both banks are no longer taking in new HELOC applications. And something that we need to remember is that this is a temporary halt on new application. This doesn't mean that they're freezing or shutting down existing HELOC. All they're saying is that they're not taking any new home equity line of credit application. Now, another thing to remember is that Wells Fargo and JP Morgan, they offer second lien position HELOC, which if you've seen my other video that makes a comparison between a first lien HELOC versus a second lien HELOC, a second lien HELOC does expose more risk for the banks and for the borrowers, so it does make sense that both Wells Fargo and JP Morgan are stopping any new home equity line of credit application. Now, some of you guys may have seen that headline and now are thinking, oh my gosh, is this the end to the strategy? Is this the end to using a home equity line of credit to pay off our mortgage? Oh my gosh, I knew I was right. I shouldn't have used a home equity line of credit. Well, not exactly. Not all banks are stopping the home equity line of credit application. In fact, as soon as I saw the headline, I started calling all my banks and all my bankers and my loan professionals, and they all said, no, nothing's happening on our end. Our banks are still lending. Our banks are still offering home equity line of credit. Now, one thing to distinct with the home equity line of credit that we use for the strategy versus the home equity line of credit that Wells Fargo and JP Morgan offer is that we typically use a first lien position HELOC, which tend to carry less risk not only for the lenders but also borrowers. Now, for those who don't know what a first lien position HELOC is, a first lien position HELOC is basically the only mortgage, the only line of credit on your home. So instead of having a traditional 30-year fixed or a 15-year fixed mortgage, your only loan that's on the home is your home equity line of credit. And one thing to remember is that not all banks offer a first lien position HELOC. Only few banks that we found out from our own research offer a first lien position HELOC. And these types of home equity line of credit tend to be more safer than the second lien position HELOC. And another thing we need to remember is that these types of first lien position HELOC are considered non-qualifying mortgages. Often known as a non-QM loan, a non-qualifying mortgage essentially is a mortgage or a loan that is originated by a lender or bank that doesn't meet the criteria or fit within the guidelines of the federal government, specifically the Dodd-Frank Act and the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which ultimately means that banks have a little more freedom and they can underwrite differently than some of the other loans or mortgages that you may have seen in the past. So all in all, HELOCs are not canceled, and no, this strategy is still going, it's still working. You can still use a HELOC to pay off your mortgage, and there's no news about all the banks closing down their HELOC application. You know what's also not canceled is the fact that you can go and smash the like button and turn that like button to blue. One thing we need to remember is that this is not a government mandate. Now, it would be problematic if the federal government or the CFPB comes out to says that, hey, all HELOCs are now canceled, there are no more applications, doesn't matter if they're first lien or second lien. If CFPB comes out to say that all HELOCs are canceled, then yeah, it would be problematic, but it doesn't necessarily destroy the strategy either, because you can still use a personal line of credit, you can still use an overdraft account, you can still use a credit card to even use it for this strategy to pay off your mortgage. So there are ways to do the strategy even without a home equity line of credit. And again, that's a worst comes to worst scenario. My prediction is that as soon as the economy reopens, we bounce back, JP Morgan and Wells Fargo will begin to reintroduce their home equity line of credit product and reopen the application process. All that to say, there's nothing to worry about when it comes to home equity line of credit, and there's still ways to do the strategy. We're always adapting and we're always changing depending on what's going on. But as far as what's going on right now, most banks are still offering the home equity line of credit products, especially the home equity line of credit that we prefer to use, which is a first lien position HELOC. So therefore, our strategy is not impacted, and I don't see a major nationwide HELOC cancellation at all. So if you guys feel like this video was helpful and gave you some insights as to what's going on with the home equity line of credit, be sure to subscribe to our channel. I'll continue to provide some more information. I normally don't make videos at home, let alone without my editing team, so be sure to go and subscribe, and I'll go and provide some more content in the near future.